The quiet elegance of aging. 5 true luxuries that money can't buy in later life. How many of these do you possess? As we journey into the later chapters of our lives, we begin to realize something profound. True wealth in old age isn't measured in bank accounts, real estate, or luxury cars. It's not in diamonds, cruise packages, or how well our children turned out. The most elegant form of showing off in one's golden years isn't loud or flashy. It whispers. It's subtle, and it's found in 5 things that, though rarely paraded, are more precious than gold. With age comes a deeper understanding of life. We no longer pursue fashion for attention. We dress for comfort and ease. We no longer chase passion for thrills. We cherish companionship and emotional warmth. And most of all, we begin to see that the greatest treasures are peace, stability, and health. Not long ago, someone asked an elderly gentleman sitting in the park in Charleston, South Carolina, "What does it mean to be truly rich in old age?" He smiled gently and replied, "Real abundance lives in the simple, ordinary days. The luxury of being well, of waking up without pain, of having someone to sip tea with, that's wealth." The truly wealthy seniors among us are not the ones who flash their pensions or boast about their children's job titles. No, they are the ones who walk with quiet dignity, who speak softly yet with clarity, who live each day as if it were a polished gem. The 5 greatest forms of quiet wealth in old age are these. 1. A healthy body, the most expensive asset you can't buy. There's an old quote by Francis Bacon that says, "A healthy body is the guest chamber of the soul, a sick one is its prison." By the time we hit our 70s or 80s, we realize that there is no greater flex, no greater boast than saying, "I don't take any pills." No injections, no prescriptions, just daily walks, a strong heart, and a functioning pair of knees. That's priceless. Take Margaret Thompson, a retired high school English teacher in Portland, Oregon. At her 50th class reunion, now 67, she walked into the hall in a simple linen dress the color of oatmeal. Her skin had the clarity of someone who eats well and sleeps on time, blue veins visible beneath the surface, like a delicate watercolor. She politely declined the soda and wine on offer, instead sipping the jujube tea she had brought in her thermos. Later, we learned that Margaret had undergone a mastectomy in her 40s due to breast cancer. Since then, she had never missed a day of her morning Tai Chi practice and was always in bed by 10 p.m., no matter the occasion. That discipline, over decades, gave her an ageless glow that no spa or surgeon could replicate. Actress Jamie Lee Curtis, now in her 60s, once posted a no-makeup selfie during a hike. Her radiance stunned fans. She later said, "The glow didn't come from expensive facials. It came from decades of early bedtimes and skipping that second glass of wine." Health, she reminded us, is the most expensive luxury in the world, and one money can't always secure. As one CEO once said after surviving cancer, "I've come to learn that the most valuable days are the ones where I don't need to see a doctor." Indeed, the joy of feeling good in your body is the most exquisite form of quiet abundance. 2. Emotional stability, the currency of inner wealth. In the Book of Proverbs and in Buddhist teachings alike, there's a recurring idea: the calm mind is a fortress. As we grow older, it becomes more and more clear emotional calmness is not just desirable, it is vital. We all know someone like Aunt Carol from the neighborhood farmer's market in suburban Illinois. Her husband cheated on her. Her son, a grown man, still lives at home, refusing to work. Her mother-in-law is demanding and impossible to please. Yet every morning at 4 a.m., Carol drives to the produce distributor to collect her vegetables. By 6 a.m., she's setting up her stall, all smiles and gentle laughter. When a customer complains the lettuce is too wilted, she replies kindly, "You can peel off a few leaves, sweetheart. I'll throw in a few carrots, too. They're sweeter after the rain anyway." One summer, a storm blew down her canopy tent and ruined half her stock. But Carol didn't cry. She squatted on the pavement, salvaged what she could, and handed it out for free to the sanitation workers passing by. "Can't sell it anyway," she said. "Might as well feed someone." Rain-kissed vegetables taste better. Her peace was not something she was born with. It was hammered out in the furnace of life, trial by trial, heartbreak by heartbreak. A woman like Carol teaches us, true emotional strength isn't being cheerful when everything is going well. It's choosing composure when everything is falling apart. Unchecked emotion invites illness. It drives people away. But calmness? That attracts peace, people, and prosperity. As Ming Dynasty physician Gong Tingxian once said, if you respond calmly to what comes and find peace after what passes, you can live a long life. Stability is the richest emotion a woman can wear in her later years. 3. Spiritual and mental independence, the brightest inner light. A truly self-sufficient spirit shines on its own. It doesn't seek validation from others. There's something deeply empowering about spiritual independence, especially for women. It's the strongest armor against the world's expectations. Think of Eleanor Pierce, a 55-year-old art conservator who has spent nearly 2 decades restoring Renaissance paintings at the Met in New York. Her husband is a real estate mogul with waterfront properties, but Eleanor insists on taking the subway to work and lives in a modest brownstone filled with secondhand books and sunflowers from the corner bodega. When Hurricane Sandy flooded the basement studio, Eleanor wrapped the wet sketches in her shawl, sat cross-legged on the ground, and began drying them one by one with her body heat. My husband can buy penthouses, she once said, but he can't buy me the joy of restoring this angel's gaze. That is wealth. That is luminous independence. Or think of poet Jane Marshall, who wrote a translation of Don Quixote by candlelight on the back of grocery receipts while exiled during the 1960s. And Professor Grace Lin, who gave away her $3.5 million inheritance to fund scholarships, then returned to her lectures in a sweater with visible patches. These women don't need marble kitchens or Birkin bags to shine. They live in integrity. They are guided not by trends, but by truth. Their lives whisper, I do not require applause to exist fully. That's the richest kind of life. For freedom of time, the true luxury of the golden years. There's a phrase I once heard that stuck with me. Time freedom is a woman's most luxurious form of sovereignty. And it's true. The ability to decide how to spend your hours, not just once in a while, but every day, is a sign of true wealth. In San Francisco's Mission District, there's a coffee shop called Cafe Luna. Most mornings around 9 a.m., an older woman sits by the window wearing a wide-brimmed hat and a lavender cardigan. She writes long letters in cursive using a fountain pen on gold-flecked stationery. The baristas know her by name, Mrs. Helen Grant, former CFO of a Fortune 500 company. At 52, Helen took early retirement. These days, she braids her granddaughter's hair in the mornings, reads Zhuangzi in the afternoons, and watches opera with her mother in the evenings. Her watch costs $25. But she laughs and says, some folks boast of making $500 an hour. Me? I boast that I can nap at 3 p.m. in the sunlight. Time freedom is not laziness. It's mastery. It means you've made enough peace with your responsibilities that you now get to choose how your days are shaped. Former TV anchor Elaine Matthews once spent 3 years traveling with her son to museums around the world. I thought I had freedom before, she said. But real freedom is resting without guilt. That's the pinnacle of earned liberty. 5. Harmonious relationships, the warmest form of security. There's no such thing as a life without hardship. No marriage exists without trials. But in our later years, the greatest testament to wealth is a relationship that still holds. Every Thursday night at a local food truck in Austin, Texas, a middle-aged couple runs a fried rice stand. While Linda cooks, her husband John peels garlic beside her on a plastic stool. Less chilly today, he says. You had heartburn yesterday. At the end of the night, he throws his worn jacket over her shoulders and pushes the cart in his stretched-out sweater. They still share the same old thermos, chipped and faded. It's hard to believe Linda was paralyzed for 3 years after a car accident. John worked construction during the day and massaged her legs at night until she could walk again. That's not love in Valentine's Day posts. That's love in shared burdens and quiet endurance. The finest relationships are not found in grand gestures, but in being each other's shelter when the storm hits. A good marriage is not a palace built with diamonds. It's a cabin built with patience, trust, and shared dreams. In the end, true wealth for women in their later years is not loud. It is soft like warm jade, polished by time, touched by wisdom, and glowing from within. When others are busy bragging about grandchildren's degrees or their spouse's former job title, the truly enlightened woman smiles gently. She knows that real abundance doesn't require noise. It lives in the laugh lines by her eyes, the strength of her back, and the lightness of her spirit. So to every woman who has lived long enough to worry less about collagen and more about courage, here's a reminder. You've already earned the right to rest easy. Your grace, your calm, your kindness, that is your greatest currency. It's more than enough to buy you the most peaceful years ahead.